to discuss this topic, the application of artificial intelligence and Gaussian processes in aircraft maintenance cost analysis. There is no better fit than Air Commodore Friday Okon Basi, Air Vice Marshal, Air Commodore. You know, when a man is very qualified and even overqualified, every title is due him. Please, your hands together for Air Commodore Friday Okon Basi. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. I will not accept AVM now. If you give me AVM now, you want me to go back to my village very soon. You know, so thank you very much for the introduction, and just that is just an abridged version. So first I want to thank the Almighty God for this privilege to be here and for this event that is taking place in Uyo, my hometown. When I saw Uyo, I said, I must be here by all means, by the grace of God. Thank you very much for bringing this event here. More events will be holding up here. All right, the president of the Institute of Safety Professionals of Nigeria, our honorable chairman, Senate Committee on Safety and Standards, past ISPON presidents, members of the ISPON executive, fellow ISPON professionals. In the next 20 minutes or thereabout, I'm going to make two presentations on this very theme, relating to this very theme called what we call Safer Nigeria 2025 and beyond. In one of the critical industry, aviation industry, if we recall, some past years we have incessant multiple air crashes. It became alarming. We lost so many lives. But thank God, like the representative of the Chief of Air Staff said yesterday, a lot has been done. And also the NCA are doing a lot to avert accidents. Accident is very expensive. And it has a collateral damage that cannot be replaced, which is life, loss of life. Some people will say that to install safety protocols, equipment, and all the resources to prevent, protect, and predict accidents, you say it's expensive. I said, if implementing safety protocol is expensive, calculate the cost of accidents. And there are some costs you cannot replace. Very painful. So on this, we look at the theme, leveraging artificial intelligence in digitalizations for enhanced occupational safety and health. In the aviation industry, we have two critical components of aviation. The pilot who is flying the aircraft and the maintenance who fix that aircraft to fly. And then others like the air traffic controllers and the rest. But the two main critical factors for aviation safety is the aircraft maintenance engineers and the pilot that flies that aircraft. If there's a problem in any of these two, we'll not have safety. So that brings us to the topic concerning the leveraging on artificial intelligence. We look at application of artificial intelligence and the Gaussian process in aircraft maintenance costs. My co-author is from the University of, is in the Department of, Department of Aeronautical Engineering, Kwara State University. Incidentally, would have been here. He just got ill. Probably he will join us online, maybe discussion, interactive session. Presently, I'm doing my 4th master's degree on aviation safety in Department of Air Safety Management in African Aviation University in Abuja. Okay. Well, by way of introduction, I will be I'm going to summarize most of the things. Okay. All right. Maintenance management play a key role in many of our industries, but particularly in aviation industry. Aviation maintenance is very, very critical because it concerns the availability and safety of systems. It also looks at the safety, the lifespan of the systems. Aircraft is made of so many components, so many systems, avionics systems, mechanical systems, electrical systems, the structural systems, the environmental systems, even the workplace inside the cockpit, what we call closed what? Closed space, where the pilot sits, and then the cabin, where the passenger sits. So, and then we'll look at how to achieve customer satisfaction, overall investment on profitability, and airline survivability. If we take a look in Nigerian industry, a lot of airlines will come up booming for a short time, they fade away. One of the major causes of it is aircraft management system, which is critical on aircraft maintenance. When the aircraft is flying and is producing money, if you divert that money, when it asks for maintenance and that money is not there, you are finished. So that is why aircraft maintenance is one of the critical factors for the sustainability of any airline operations. So in this context, effective prediction. Now we have a lot of, if you trace back, some accident investigations have revealed that majority of the aircraft accidents are caused by human factor or mechanical factor, which relates to maintenance. The human factor can come from operations or maintenance. So there is a need. We have been having traditional way of maintenance until the fault happens. Then we start reacting. But thank God for the AI that we are introducing right now. AI is giving us ability to predict, to predict and even forecast based on data. I also want to give some background. There's a lot of fears about AI, but I want to add to what other presenters have said. We should not be afraid of AI. I remember when the computers came in, they said by year 2000, everything will collapse. Computer will not be able to transit. Am I correct? But did it happen? It's a business strategist. They use that to intimidate people, and they made millions out of it. AI is still a software of computer operations. The AI is a programming software that have gathered data. They program it from human brain perspective, where you can think everything, you can get your history. For example, from when you were conscious as a child, they ask you stories. You can tell where you live, where you work, and all those things you do. You can bring it out. The same way that AI is working to bring all information that you need pertaining to any particular area. So it's a software program. And then now we have the hardware that is programmed to execute those actions. So nobody should be afraid of AI. AI is part of computer system and technology and digital system to enhance our performance. Am I communicating? So now, let's go back, sorry. The prediction of aircraft failure rates has important guiding significance for formulating reasonable maintenance plans that will carry out reliability maintenance activities, improving health management level, and ensuring the safety of aircraft flight operations. So it is in this reason that the aviation industry seeks for a model to improve efficiency, which is the study of this paper. Let's Next. So now, the problem is the failure rate of aircraft equipment has interrelated complex factors with maintenance and support costs. A lot of airlines are cutting corners because of the cost of maintenance. Like I said, a lot of them will not keep the money for the maintenance, and when maintenance comes, they look for how to cut corners. So now, the factor of maintenance is to support the cost throughout the life cycle of the equipment, and to solve this problem, cost optimizations of the organization pose a difficult challenge to airline operators. So this study will try to give out some mathematical, I'll try to simplify it. Don't mind the technical. If you are not following the technical stuff, please listen to me. I will simplify it to ordinary understanding. So the study is to see how we can integrate integrate artificial intelligence with Gerson's process for solving complex problems associated with the correlations between failure rates and maintenance expenditure. The two major problems is, like I said, maintenance expenditure and the failure rate. Now, how do you maintain your aircraft to reduce failure rates so that will prevent accidents? So this process of artificial intelligence is what we call Gaussian process. So the objective is that the AI and the Gaussian probability density function analyze and determine the correlationship between equipment failure and associated maintenance costs. So now AI has brought up these techniques reduce failure rates and keep maintenance costs almost constantly low at enhanced safety standard. Next slide. What we are going to find out is that with the introduction of AI, like I said, and AI work with data. Our previous presenter mentioned it. Like I said, AI work with data. Data being processed through the software programming. That is why I think one of the things we should also learn is how to develop data. We have all the information, but we don't develop data. Data has to do with record keeping. From record keeping, we now translate it to either quantitative data or qualitative data. So now we take a review of some authors, which we now find out that in the first author, we find out that there's a applied failure rates and the maintenance cost variable. The same thing with the second author, integration of failure models with artificial intelligence. And the third author also find out that there's a costly due to precision of security required. Next. So now, a few description of the mathematical technique. I will not go into detail of it, but some of the factors, let me just pick some factors. Some of the factors we are looking at is the system aging factors, cost evaluation and failure rate, time interval between schedule maintenance. A lot of airlines, they don't maintain schedule time intervals maintenance schedule. And then storage of space and so many things, and cost of tools. Some maintenance, they don't have the accurate tools. Next. So some of these assumptions we are going to work on. Next slide, please. Okay. So now, the Gaussian formula, like I said, is a comparison of the equipment failure and the association maintenance cost. Like I said, some airlines to manage the cost of maintenance, they will not give the best maintenance that is the aircraft desire. So they try to cost corner. So if you look at, this is a mathematical expression anyway, when you look at the average rate of failure compared to the total number of failure and what the system is required a period, you can come up with this formula. Let's go next. So now, like I said, you have to generate data. Generation of data, you can say, for example, each quarter of 2018 to 2025, observations were taken, 4 observation values were obtained, and then you'll be able to see the number of fault rates in 8 years, and then you come up with all these data, group them into 32 groups. You come out and find out that the input data set, including 70% of the data, you see the test rate 30%. Now, when you process this, the first group of 5 years, you input those data, and then you come up with it in 3 years' time. You'll be able to test those data and see the distribution rate of aircraft system and be able to predict. We have the prediction model, which we call the Gaussian model. Now, what the AI helps us to do is, from your history, data is about the history of things you have been doing. You keep records, then AI, you compile those data. The AI can process it and tell you. If you tell AI some information, it can tell you when you were born, where you were born, the date and time and everything. Next. So this is the mathematical formula. I will not want to dwell us with this. You can check that later. So let's go. Next. So now it's the same thing. The solution is that the increase of failure rate depends on the probability of distribution between the maintenance cost and the failure rate, which you can also use this formula to calculate. Let's go next. So now the influence, we have this data analysis, this representation that shows different categories, the mean, the variable, the standard deviation, the minimum and the maximum failure rate. So if you are, those academicians anyway, if you get into failure and cost maintenance analysis, you'll be able to come up with the maintenance cost and the failure rate. Let's go. So there's a relationship. There's a relationship between the failure rate and maintenance cost. So the cumulative distribution formula function is that failure rate of the system and maintenance cost show a linear consistency, indicating the assumption that these two variables actually contribute as the key determinant to effective cost, survivability of the organization, and enhanced decision-making capability. Don't forget, we say AI is to do what? Enhance. Our AI we are studying is to do what? Enhance our occupational safety and health. So the AI, with your data of your operations, like we took the 8 years, if you have all your records, the AI can come up and predict to you that in the next month, next 2 months, from all this information we have gathered, this will happen, and this is what you should do, and this is what you should not do. So this is the enhancement of our occupational safety and health with the use of AI. So, however, the cumulative value of maintenance cost grows faster slightly than the failure rate, and this could be accredited to many factors, including change in government policies, global climate crisis, exchange rate, economy of base country, and airline company. Next, now let me highlight this place. One of the challenges Nigerian airlines having is that the cost of maintenance in foreign currency, because we lack what we call maintenance, repair, and overhaul centers in Nigeria. So most of our aircraft are taken abroad for maintenance, and it's very expensive due to the exchange rates of our currency. So now, look at the results from this research. So now from the research, we saw that from that figure, it defines the difference between the highest and the lowest value, mean standard. And then it suggests that airline has to mitigate the trend of failure rates and maintenance costs at the same time. So this demonstrates that both variables of the Gaussian process are strongly correlated, and it shows that this, to ensure that failure rate is kept low. So it is to keep maintenance costs minimal for effectiveness, survivability, and enhanced decision capabilities. So incorporation of AI in predictive maintenance. AI helps us to tell us what will happen ahead from the data available. You can ask AI, I am living in this area, these are the conditions of this area, what will happen to me tomorrow? Thank you. So now, AI will take a look of your environment. I did one analysis in Abuja. I was sent to go and look at the traffic. Those of you in Abuja, the traffic at when you are coming from Nyanya, at that our army barracks, Abacha barracks. I impute all the data of that place. AI gave me all the causes of that go-slow. It gave me all the causes, the history, and the solution. So that is the work of AI. It enhances you to perform your jobs. So I'll quickly round up. We're about to go to the conclusion. So the AI presents what we call machine language algorithm, which is a software that predicts the failure rate and the time to fail and the use of already calculated and plotted data. So artificial intelligence network model of algorithm helps to anticipate system failure in real time, thereby increasing operational safety, reduce downtime and equipment failure rate, and enabling timely repairs. It will tell you timely repairs to avoid failure and accident. Next. All right, so we are done. So in conclusion, the effect of failure rate and maintenance costs is a major determining factor of an airline survivability. Therefore, maintenance or repairs or replacement of aircraft system data from an airline for the first quarter have been shown the failure rates which was calculated. So we have these observations that the test input was about 70% and the test data 30%. So this rule adopted to reduce increasing correlations between the failure rate and maintenance costs. Therefore, the two should be kept low for effectiveness, survivability, enhanced decision-making, and capability. So the recommendation is this. 1, adoption of techniques presented in this study to achieve organizational goal concerning maintenance costs, which is application of AI. The study also considered the scheduled maintenance, and it's hereby recommended that a further study should be included in unscheduled maintenance and other overhead costs. Next. Next slide. Are we there? All right. So, are you sure you're not jumping one slide? Can you go back one slide? Let me see. All right. Thank you very much. You see, like I said, okay, go forward. Continue. So, gentlemen, the references are shown on the screen. That brings us to the end of this presentation. What you should understand in this presentation is that with the use of AI, you can predict maintenance. You can stop failure rates. Like now, a lot of artificial intelligence and digital analysis has been now applied in our aircraft maintenance. You find out that for the past years now, we have not have any experience of aircraft accident, either military or civil. Thank you very much for your rapt attention.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please, another round of applause for Air Commodore Friday Basi Okon for that presentation on the application of Gaussian processes in cost analysis for safety professionals. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. We will come back very shortly to questions and once again, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Air Commodore Friday Basi Okon. Please do not forget that you can keep populating the Slido platform with your questions. There will be a time to field those questions, and the presenters who have delivered their presentations will respond appropriately. We are moving on very quickly to our next speaker. We have more presentations coming up, and we cannot afford to have anyone as a walkover. Our next speaker at this time is going to be speaking on the topic, Building Safer Government Workplaces. a framework for digital occupational safety integration on Nigeria's public sector institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker a PhD student at Alex Ekweme Federal University, Ikon, Ebonyi State. Providence Akpan is a fellow of the Institute of Safety Professionals of Nigeria and has managed health, safety, and environment in several projects that cut across oil and gas, manufacturing, construction industries, and has made several technical presentations both in local and international fora. He works at QHSC Services Provider Limited. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to speak on the topic, Building Safer Government Workplaces, a framework for digital occupational safety integration on Nigeria's public sector institutions, please make welcome Akpa Providence Nwachukwu. Please put your hands together for him, as over the next 20 minutes, he will be delivering his presentation.
Good afternoon, professional colleagues. Permit me to stand on the existing protocol. I want to especially thank the organizers of this program and the opportunity given to me to share the research we are doing. Before the slide comes up, let me just give us a brief background of my presentation. For the past 10 years now, from 2014 till date, we have been running some occupational health and safety training across federal ministries, departments, and agencies in Nigeria. So we are conducting some research, and I feel it's an opportunity for us to share some of our ongoing findings. The topic, please can you project my work? This is just a preliminary finding of our research work. It's yet to be concluded, but I think it's an opportunity to share some of the things we are identifying in line with the conference theme. We are talking about building safer workplaces in federal ministries, departments, and agencies. So we are looking at proposing a framework for digital occupational health and safety in Nigeria public sectors. Now, it is quite understandable that, please, next slide. It is quite understandable that countries, in developed countries, like Australia, you talk of Germany, we talk of Finland, and other developed countries, they have digitalized most of their operations. And you find out that doing that is an opportunity for improvement. It's opportunity to address workplace risk. And in Nigeria, in our climate, it is found that we are still doing the peculiar traditional processes. Please, next slide. Now, what informed this study? Next slide, please. Next slide. So, next slide again, please. So, Nigeria public place is one of the employers of labor. Of course, we know employs over 2 million workers. But despite the availability of these technologies, we are still doing analog method of our safety management system. So this is an opportunity to shift. And this shift is an opportunity for us to address this risk properly. Next slide. So to do that is, we want to assess the impact of integrating occupational health and safety management system in our workplaces across these MDS. So what we did precisely, next slide, is that we generated dependent variables and independent variables. And we look at the following, please, the last slide. We look at the following independent variables to bring down how digitalization will impact the workplace safety and health. We look at e-reporting. We also look at using occupational health and safety training platform instead of harnessing physical training. Then we also look at dashboard. If we use dashboard in our reporting, what will be the effect in our workplaces? We also look at remote inspection. These were the 4 measuring factors we want to look at. How will they affect occupational health and safety in our public institutions? So next slide. So the next thing is that we now coin it in this way, that inverse norm, that e-reporting system have no significant impact on the incident reduction in selected SME places, selected MDS. Our dependent variable there are incident reduction rates, the effect on employees' awareness about occupational health and safety across board, the compliance with safety, should there be something like safety dashboard, and we also look at what would be the effect on response time. So you look at the slide there, you find out that we have dependent variables, then measuring it against independent variables. The next slide, please. So look at what I've just explained to us there. That are some variables. Look at the next slide, please. Those are dependent variables. So we want to compare them. That is one of the ways we can use to find out the effects of digitalization. Remember, we are trying to say that, are these organizations using digital processes to address occupational health and safety matters in our workplaces, in public sectors? So we want to use these variables to track them. The next slide, please. The next slide. So this is the formula we use to, I would not like to bore you with this. The next slide. The next slide, please. Yes, this is just trying to show you the systematic diagram, trying to compare the 2 dependent variables. All of them are 8 variables there. The 1 dependent variables and independent variable, trying to address them with respect to the objective, respectively. The next slide. Now, what is our study scope there? We only focused on MDS, strictly on MDS. We excluded other workplaces. Now, also look at their head offices in Abuja. That's where we looked at. So we did not talk about other branches they have across the country. Then we also look at these measuring indicators we talked about in the sub-variables. The next slide, please. Now, we used our survey method to design the research, and then our population to help us guide us get what we are looking at. We focused on safety desk officers in these MDAs. We look at ICT managers, HR staff, and operational staff. We selected them across these MDAs. Now, we try to depend on a particular data to guide us on the number of MDAs we have. We stumbled onto a publication that, according to Budget Office of the Federation, that all the MDAs we have in Nigeria are 943 MDAs. 43 MDAs. So we now depended on that as our total population. And of course, in research, we need something we can work with. We cannot be able to use all the data, the figure there. Can we see the next slide, please? So we were able to do some calculations, and at the end of the day, we arrived at our sample size to be 365. So we actually sampled 365. We sent out questionnaire. The next slide. We sent out questionnaires to these sample sites, and the data was primarily collected from them. And then the next thing we did was that we now use Likert scale to do our reporting. In the Likert scale, what we did was that the highest point there tells us that they agree with our questions. And the lowest point there, which is number 1, says that they disagree. The next slide, please. So the researcher distributed 365 copies of questionnaire to the respondents, of which 242 copies of the distributed questionnaire were duly filled and returned and was used for the analysis. This represents a response rate of 66%. And of course, in research, it is very, very okay when you get 66% return from out of the questionnaire you sent out. The next one. So this is a summary of what I've just told us. So some of them were on return, some then could not respond to us at all. Some people did not fill it properly. So we were able to work with 365 questionnaire. Can we see the next slide, please? All right, please. These are the description of section A of our questionnaire, trying to tell us the department that actually responded. And this is, you see that safety desk officers were the highest response. Here's the next slide. The range of years of service, highest responder is between 11 and 20. The next slide. Educational qualification there, if you see the breakdown there, you find out that the people that responded most to us are people that are graduate. The next slide, please. Now, the gender, I'm even surprised that we have 50-50. It was a surprise to me. So I think I'm safe. Nobody will accuse me of gender bias. Thank you very much. The next slide. Okay, the age bracket there, the highest response is between 46 and 55. Here's the next slide. All right, we are trying to interpret some of these figures we got in our section B. So this section provides a descriptive analysis of the response by addressing the study option first, the study question first, and then the dependent variable that provides answer to our questions. So as I've said earlier on, we used Likert scale of 6 to agree and disagree, ranging from 6 towards 1. The next point, please. The next slide. Now let's look at the next slide. All right. We look at the response. We did the calculation. We find out that most of our response, after calculating them, we find out that the mean value falls within 1.99 to 2.06. That's very low. So what is inferring here is that they don't agree that they do e-reporting. They don't agree that they do digital training. It suggests that more of their training are physical training in public service. It also suggests that remote inspection, they don't agree that their practice in public service is remote inspection. And the dashboard too, they don't utilize that tool. And it is quite interesting. Let's see the next slide. Look, we are trying to represent them graphically. And the next slide. The next slide. The next slide. All right, this is just trying to describe what I've just said so far. The next slide. All right. We also look at the other side of them. We find out that e-reporting there is also trying to be, is also at the same range, 1.99 to 2.05, suggesting that integrating this tool in our public service is very, very important. As the respondents disagree that they are not actually utilizing them in managing occupational health and safety in their workplace. The next slide, please. Well, let's look at the next slide again. The next slide, you are going back. Something must be wrong there, please. All right, can you go back? I want you to go to figure 5. All right, now this place is trying to tell us, please stop there, thank you. This place is trying to tell us the incident rate. So where is the pointer? So this is forward, I think. I'm sorry for the breakdown in transmission. This is the graphical representation of what we have said so far. All right, this is where we should be. This is trying to tell us, for those that are using, what is the effect on the incident rate? Now, this infers that because they don't agree that they are actually using it, it means that they did not see any significant importance on using it to track the incident rate in their workplace. Is that point clear? All right. Why is it not working? Please, can you move it from there? It's not working from here. Please. Can you control it from there? It's not working here.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please a round of applause for Providence Apa Wachuku.
I'm sorry about that. Can we just conclude and let's conclude, huh? This place is trying to tell us the implication of the response. And the summary here is just that in calculating them mathematically, it suggests that they are all within the lower mean value. And the implication is that the respondents let's agree that they are using these digital tools. And since these digital tools are not integrated in their system, of course, it infers that there is no, it cannot have the effect. You cannot see the effect. All right, can we conclude? All right. So the conclusion says to us, across all the MDS, across the MDS where we sampled our survey, it simply suggests that all the score range between 1.85 to 2.3, indicating that low current adoption of digital occupational health and safety across MDAs. That is the novel of the findings. Is that okay? Now, however, now we also made some recommendation. Can I see the last slide there, please? I still have one last slide there. The last slide. All right, the recommendation. All right. So I think this should be our take home for the recommendation. So we are trying to recommend as follows for the relevant persons or stakeholders. Let's prioritize and mandate adoption of key digital occupational health and safety tools in our workplaces, in MDAs. The second point there is that we should enhance capacity building for occupational health and safety system. Now let me just throw light here. How do we come up with these recommendations? We made a provision in our questionnaire that the respondents should be able to tell us what are their suggestions to address these gaps that they have identified. Among the popular suggestions they came up with were these things, and this came up in the order of this ranking. Now, capacity building is very, very important. If governments or relevant agencies make provision of these digital tools, training the personnel on how to use them is very, very important. It should not just stop there. They should train them to help them to develop capacity. They should also expand and support remote inspection technology. This will lead to time reduction in time management, and this will also enhance efficiency. They should also assess and address institutional variability. There are a lot of agencies in federal ministry that are doing similar things. They should be able to harmonize it and come up with a roadmap and define institutions that does what and that is responsible in driving digital implementation in MDAs. They should also implement continuous monitoring and feedback mechanism. Going forward to provide all these things or to meet these points we have mentioned so far is very, very important. But monitoring them and getting feedbacks in respect to the results they are providing is also very, very important. More importantly, strengthen policy framework and leadership commitment. I'm happy that we have agencies like NITDA around, and other agencies like Head of Service can collaborate together with other relevant agencies. There is this study, Presidential Enabling Business on Ease of Doing Business have been running all this while. They have been trying to integrate ease of doing business in these agencies. They can also use that platform to achieve what we have said so far. Finally, they should also focus on users' engagement and change management. Thank you very much.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please put those hands together for Providence Akpa Nwachuku. Thank you very much for that presentation, sir. Thank you that despite what technology wanted to show us, you still went on, you were resilient. That's the thing about AI and digitalization. As a software engineer, I can tell you, even when you write your code can fail. You can encounter bugs, but you have to solve the bugs and still get the application to run. That is what he has done. Thank you very, very much. But he will not be returning to his seat. He will be sitting down as we now move on to the question and answer segment. I will be inviting all the other speakers who have spoken today to come up stage to join him. Mr. Providence Akpa, please have your seat. Thank you very much. It is now time for the Q&A. Let me invite Mr. Samuel Udo to join him on stage. Mr. Samuel Udo, where are you? Mr. Samuel Udo. As we expect Samuel Udo to join him on stage, let's also make welcome Air Commodore Friday Basiokon to join him on stage. Please, we want Mr. Samuel Udo to join the speakers on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, as we anticipate our final speaker, please make welcome Dr. Julius Akpong, who will handle the question and answer segment. Your questions have been noted, and it is time for
our respected President, Double High Chief, Dr. Daisy Stephen, our past presidents, to see you here, sirs, our respected Chairman of Regulations, and other members of the committee, all our governing board members, distinguished attendees at this epoch-making conference. Please, a round of applause for ourselves. Thank you very much. In the age of AI and digitalization, we cannot be asking our questions by raising up our hands. Those hands can press the computers and the phones and give us the questions the way we've gathered them now. So I will skip the questions from the first presenter because he's obviously not here. I'll move straight to the questions that came afterwards. And please, some people almost held my shirt after yesterday's event because they didn't hear their questions read. I'm so sorry. I'm working on a mandate based on available. My own question that I asked yesterday that I wrote down. When I saw it, I skipped it because of time. So if I can skip anybody's own too. Thank you very much. All right, so there's a question here from Igwezo Eric Ifedi. Question says, what AI tools exist? Okay, that's still for Dr. Dakbo. Okay, but I'll just ask it since I'm already reading it. What AI tools exist on safety issues with the examples cited by Dr. Dakbo Molade using Australia's case study? How can one detect error-prone tools and response from those tools? I would think we should just hold on with this until Dr. Dakbo comes, since it's related to a specific scenario. We'll just move to the question from Chris Edet, which says, how can manufacturing plants, example cement, ensure worker buy-in and trust in AI-powered safety systems addressing concerns around data privacy and surveillance? This question, I think, came from a very instructive presentation by Mr. Samuel Udo. I think this question was from security and surveillance. How can we protect AI systems so that people cannot hack into the systems because of that? You have a mic right next to you. Let's do us the honors to take at least 1 minute. We know how passionate these answers are coming, but please use 1 minute to just respond to it.
Okay, so if I get the question right, it's about security of all of the AI tools that organization might want to deploy, right? and having to build confidence of the employees on how artificial intelligence, giving us all of those responses that we love, that we use, actually data that are gotten. So I will approach it in two ways. Intellectual property. There's been a lot of debate around intellectual property being taken by these AI platforms and not paying back the creative, the people who actually write this paper. For some of us who have done our PhD and have actually put in a lot of work in writing citations and writing paper that is published in international journals, and then we see our work being used in the responses that we get when we prompt AI tools. It's saddening, right? But at the same time, we should be happy that our work is being used to advance technology that is moving us to the next level. And that is on one hand, right, intellectual property. Then when it comes to individual data being collected by the organization, and that is where care needs to be taken. Where I stand when it comes, because I'm a big advocate of AI and all of the new technologies that is advancing the practice of health and safety. So for me, I would say if it's not being used maliciously, right? So if, as an health and safety practitioner, you want to introduce AI, artificial intelligence tools to your operation, first of all, be sure that the platform that you're using have the right pedigree. So there are there are plethora of AI platforms available right now. Go for the ones that have historical ethics when it comes to how they use your data. I don't want to mention names now, but we know that there are, good AI platform out there who have been doing a whole lot of work when it comes to securing your data. I can't speak specifically as to how well they are able to use your data in an ethical fashion, but all you just have to do is trust that they are not using your data in a negative way, and then provide as much information as you can. Because if we don't, if we're scared of providing data for them to use in their AI training and making sure that we have the right output, then we will be at disadvantage, because we will then be left back or be left behind when it comes to the use of this platform. So use it cautiously, I would say. There are organizations now that have started putting parameters in place to ensure that you don't overuse or become over-dependent on them. Use it as much as the guardrail that has been provided by organization or by the IT team in your organization.
Thank you very much.
Can I add
Please,
to
a round of applause for him. Yeah, round of applause for him, please. Thank you very much.
Can I add to what he has said?
Sorry, I'll bring your question. Thank you. Thank you very much. So the next question is very funny. I think it comes to you, sir. Air Commodore, sir. The next question is yours, and it says, how can, sorry, let me take the first one. It says, can you allow a robot or robotic AI to fly you in an aircraft because the world is moving towards that effect? This question is from Mr. Daniel S. Adekunle. Sir, this is off to you, please, sir. Can you allow... Sorry, calm down. Calm down. Bring it down. Can you allow an AI... Bring it down. Can you allow an AI tool to fly you in an aircraft, AI robot, to fly you in an aircraft, since the world is going robotic? Sir? Thank you very much. All right, we want to find out, it's also online. because this looks like a concern they have already shared during their research. So co-author, if you are online, okay, the co-author is currently not online. It's currently not joining online.
Connected?
But the question is, can you allow robotic AI to fly you in an aircraft, since we are in the age of AI and digitalization?
All right, okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for the question. We are talking about technology. And when we talk about AI, AI has been programmed to do almost perfect job. If you are current with the advancement of technology, there are automated systems operated by robots, monitored by experts. For example, now we have the type of aircraft that we call unmanned aircraft systems. I don't know if the person that asked that question knows that there is an aircraft that is flying without any human being inside. The operators and the monitors are on ground-based stations. So it has been tested. Robots can fly aircraft, but in this technology, like we rightly mentioned, there are level of risks. However, every robot or every technology is being monitored. So, like we said, AI has manufactured almost human operations, so it is very possible. All depends on your knowledge and your confidence and your trust on the system. There are some people that paid and fly to the moon. You must do what we call the risk assessment. So it has been tested. Robots are flying aircraft. Aircraft are flying unmanned. Even we have flying taxis. So please do more research, get more information, and know that AI can do anything and everything. You only consider the risk and the trust, but it is working. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Please, let's give you another round of applause, please. One house, one house, one house. Thank you. That question is a difficult question. But because we have a fantastic presenter, he has done justice to that question. He has told you risk appetite is a fundamental issue. A lot of people die when planes crash, but till tomorrow, Mr. Providence Akbar, and the question is asked by an anonymous person, and he says, in your research, did you just look at public institutions, or is there hope for private sector too? So, I mean, essentially the question is saying, should we just throw the private sector away? Why only the public sector?
Okay, thank you for that question. The research focused just on public sector. There are also studies that have discussed about private sector integration of digital occupational health and safety. Now, some papers that discussed it in Nigeria unveiled that oil and gas take a lead. Manufacturing company and construction company are gradually picking up. It is not that they are not doing anything. They are doing something. But the emphasis with them, the research gap for them, that's private organization, is the rate. But for that of public sector, it is still very, very low. And it calls for attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Round of applause. Time management is key, and we like to hear that succinct answer in such a short time. So another question we can take here is, this will be the plight of many safety professionals, and it was asked by Anonymous. It says, what can we do when our organization's management is not willing to transit from traditional to digitalization and AI-enabled safety management systems? I will channel this question to a man whom I know has weathered the storm through helping management to accept systems and actually used it to make a name for himself. Mr. Samuel Udo, please guide us through how we can get management to accept what they are not accepting.
I think that is the easy sell to the management. While the discussions around the theme of the event was ongoing, I had some private talk with some of the professionals, and I was saying that if you look at every field, you'd see the impact of advanced technology in them. Go to the medical field, you would see that most doctors are now upskilling and looking at robotics for surgical procedures. Go to the finance, before the advent of AI, the finance team have already had a whole lot of applications that they use in managing their workflow. And you just name them. Across all the sectors, everyone is using digital tools to help them to better manage their operational flow. The operation team as well, all of our equipment have become much more modern, and they are using IoTs and the rest to kind of automate workflows. So what is wrong with safety professional coming to adapt digitalization and jettisoning all of this paperwork? So there's this example I quickly want to cite. In fleet management, there is a procedure that every one of us here, if you're practicing health and safety, you would have come across this. So you expect that your driver on a daily basis take on what we call vehicle inspection, right? So there's a checklist for it. What some organizations have done is to produce a vehicle booklet where they do this checklist. And what these drivers will do, because you have told them that they need to do it on a daily basis. So there's a booklet, they go to the page and tick, tire, okay, they tick. Mirror is fine, light is working. Tick all the boxes. And what happened after they tick the boxes? They carry the booklet, put into the vehicle, and they drive away. So who monitors that? Those are what is currently practiced. But for you to sell digitalization, just tell your management that you want to digitalize this process and make sure that these drivers using their mobile phone are able to run this inspection, and you see it instantly, and you're able to make a decision as to whether that vehicle is roadworthy or not. In that way, you've just sold a very beautiful idea that has transitioned you from your traditional health and safety management to the digital format. And then you would see improvement, a rapid improvement in your safety process. That's just a quick win for you there.
Thank you very much. Okay, so thank you. I think I'll borrow a leaf from him because we don't have time. How can we allow AI to help everybody that has come to this conference to gain now, right here and now? What we have just done now is to enable the Slido such that everybody here, when you scan that code, you can see all the questions that we have asked, that everybody is asking. So everybody now has permission to see all the questions. Please, those of you that are here and our presenters, help us log on to that Slido and be answering the questions there. The remaining questions should be answered there so that we can save time and allow the next presenters to come on stage and present. Even members of the audience, look at some of the questions that you can answer, and let's begin to interact there too and be answering the questions. Once in a while, for those of you that are answering, we will flash your names here and we'll clap for you here too. So we'd like to thank everybody for this cooperation. I see you all, everybody's nodding their head. Thank you very much as we close the panel for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please, I think for this, Commodore sir, please, I think for this batch of presenters, we should have a quick photograph. While I bring on, we should have a quick photograph for this batch of presenters before we move on to the next batch of presenters. Ladies and gentlemen, we have quite a lot more to do today, and we are not stopping. We are not reducing momentum. We are moving on very quickly to a very important announcement that is coming all the way from the top. Wonderful presentations. Wonderful presentations. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for them. Providence Akpanwachuku, Air Commodore Friday Okonbasi, and Mr. Samuel Udo, with the fantastic Dr. Julius Akwang. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, please make welcome to the microphone the Deputy President of the Institute of Safety Professionals of Nigeria, Dr. Foreman Onoha, for an important announcement.
Wow, please put your hands together for yourself. And if you know you participated in use of the Slido, please put your hands together more for yourself. AI, digitalization. I'm very sure that some of you may have start developing those life phobia. It's normal to come with a change when change occurs. And our change in this instance is for development. Let me just give you a very quick preview and maybe ride on the apology of our president to let you understand that following this theme, the committee had to challenge itself. I'm talking about the Conference Organization Committee, to see how much we can make the change. The paradigm shifts into digitalization. We can't come and project a theme without starting ourselves. But yes, I want to thank those who have been bringing up their feedback. Even this Slido will definitely have to get things much better. But I'd like to let you know that as part of the digitalization, it was expected that we get registered online in advance before now. And what was that going to help us do? Is to see that we try as much as possible to limit the embarrassing crowd that was seen yesterday. And I want to say, for whatever way, whether it is from those who registered, those who attended, I want to take responsibility as the chairman and say, we apologize once again. What is the learning curve? I want to let you understand that from the feedback we had a very quick review last night, starting from 8 up to almost midnight, even into this morning. One thing is, from our records, we had just about 350,000 persons, 350, sorry, those who registered just 2 weeks to this conference. Within the 1 week to the conference, we had just about 400, almost close to 450, like the president said, and we had to add additional 50. And what does that tell us? It means that over 50% of those who are seated here, we actually registered few days and more on the very day of this conference. So I'm very sure that part of these lessons goes across everyone, that subsequently we need to move. I want to also encourage some of us. I know one of the feedback, someone came and said, why don't we take it back to the traditional way? I say, I don't know if we want to be left behind, but I believe that it only does take our Android phones, and we do a little punches, as we have said, and I'm very sure we'll be able to enjoy what we saw here, because with this, a lot of time was saved. And I hope that in future, we'll be able to do better. The target is everyone comes in, you move straight. We don't need to have anyone crowded. The tags, we are meant to also be digitalized with a barcode or scan code, whatever you call it. And unfortunately, we had to say, let's take it down a bit and take it one after the other. ISPON will get there. Please put hands together again for yourself. All right, I just have quickly couple of key information to pass, and because we don't want to compromise the information, you know, when you pass a lot of information from one to the other, it's only natural that you begin to lose some elements and misinterpretation might come in. I want us, first of all, I think it is important that before we go for lunch, we got some feedback that some of your tags, some are valid, some are not valid. It's only the one that is signed that take your tea or meals, whatever it is, please. This is coming from me that no, as long as you are giving this is mine. I have nothing signed behind. All right? So this is valid for use. This gives you access to your meals. So if that is coming from any other person, I want to let you understand that you can go on with that. Then quickly, I also want to mention that those who have registered, I'm talking about corporate organizations that made a lot of bulk payments, that actually affected the flow of processing of these into tax and all of that, and this might also affect your certificates. What am I trying to say? You have bulk payment for companies and you don't have the names. A lot of bulk payment made by a corporate organization. I want to thank you for at least paying for 50s, 10s, 100s, and so on. That was really very good of you. That demonstrates commitment. We will not want you to have issues of not one person or any of those who have registered not to come with their individual, to receive their individual certificate. So if you know any of those corporate members, if you know you're one of them, please delegate a representative to list out all your names, and that should be taken down to those behind to ensure that you receive your individual certificates. This was exactly part of what we faced when those payments were made and individual did not register and we could not get full data. We are talking about data. This data before we talk about AI. It's data before we talk about digitalization. And I'm sure that this will continue to process in our minds as we go on. And I have a good news from you. I like ending with good news. I'm not saying that all others I have said are all bad news, but are more of information. So it is a privilege for me on behalf of our chairman, House Committee for Safety Standards and Regulations, and also my president seated there. I don't know if it was planned that both we are wearing the brown on brown. I don't know if you noticed that. Have asked me to inform everyone that part of the promotion of consolidating the ISPON Act 2014 and putting ISPON, this is just the only ISPON I mean, at the front burner come March 2026. You may want to plan somewhere around the first week of March, at most second week, but just put that, tick that off in your calendar. All organizations in Nigeria will have their CEOs or managers, and I'm sure the HSE representatives might be the manager, the HSE advisors or officer, whatever you call it, that is representing your organizations, will all assemble in Abuja for a statutory workshop. This is meant to promote dates. I'm also like to let you understand that even in the course of drive for sponsorship, it got me shocked. At least I was in the middle to receive so much in feedback that some organizations are still wondering what ISPON stands for first. That is one barrier. And the second barrier would be which are or which of the ISPON. I said no, we had gone past, there is no which of the ISPON. But when such kind of question keeps coming up, it means that a lot of work needs to be done. And I want to salute, I want to thank the chairman. Please put your hands together for him. And our president and everyone involved, to see that we are taking this great stride, to see that we put a stop to this information gaps or whatever I want to call it. And I hope that 2026 will bring a greater hope for ISPON. Before my friend comes to take up this from me, I noticed that we have been sitting for long. In fact, thank God, once in a while I go out to make my calls and come in. And a lot of people have been sitting and enjoying. I wish we have a kind of exoskeleton for sitting ergonomics. All right, so what you're going to do is first sit down and shake the much you can while sitting down. Tell the person you are welcome. Tell the person, good to have you around me. Please be careful when you do that, because you might be telling this to somebody's wife or husband. And then I would like you now to rise up, stand up, then shake a minimum of, be careful the way you do that shaking.
Follow you standing inside the fire.
Now this time I want to hand over the mic.
Now love us, we go love. Who go believe you when the whole world is calling you a liar, liar? Now love me, I go love. Now love us, we go love. Now go to live your life to impress anybody, cause some people was past Satan. Now love me, I go love. Now love us, we go love. Even though you love everybody no go feel love you. Turn my mind to my weapon. Fuck the world with the large condom. Anytime you vex someone, I go like make you hear this song. Me and you gonna be Jesus. So now only who love us, we will love. So now only who love us, we will love. Focus on your bread and feature sons and daughter. Make sure that your mother knows suffer. Just to live your life.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that was stimulating. Yes, we have stretched our muscles, we have exercised our joints. It is now time to resume serious business. Ladies and gentlemen, please return to your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're found on your feet in the next 1 minute, if you're found on your feet in the next 1 minute, if you are found on your feet in the next 1 minute, if you are found on your feet in the next 1 minute, if you are found on your feet in the next 1 minute, if you are found on your feet in the next 1 minute, if you are found on your feet in the next 1 minute, if you are found on your feet if you are still shaking somebody in the next 1 minute, if you are still taking pictures in the next 1 minute, if you are still hugging somebody in the next 1 minute, if you Builder Julius, sir. Builder Julius. Builder Julius. Thank you very much for your cooperation. We are now moving very quickly to the next presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here for serious business, and we cannot afford at any point in time to lower our momentum. Our next speaker is Dr. John Jia. Dr. John Jia is going to be speaking on the topic AI-powered climate resilience, digital innovations for national growth and sustainability. We must do the business of making our nation, Nigeria, a better place. Dr. John Jia is a highly accomplished HSE expert with 25 plus years of experience in the energy, oil and gas sectors. He has held senior roles in Shell, including head of production HSE at SPDC and offshore safety and environment manager at SNEPCO, overseeing operations of production stations, gas plants, FPSOs, and a power plant. Dr. Jia is skilled in risk management, incident investigation, and HSE management systems. He is a member of the American Society of Safety Professionals. He has published internationally and authored a book on oil and gas operations. Currently, he serves as HSSE Manager, OML 11, leveraging his vast HSE expertise. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Dr. John Jia, because he might not know this, but I have a BSc in chemical engineering, and I'm happy to introduce an oil and gas expert. Please, for the next 20 minutes, make welcome Dr. John Jia.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, leaders. I was actually hoping that with the standing up, most of the people will go out, so that I will not have a lot of examining whether the paper is good or not. But as you are around, please bear with us. Actually, this before the slides come up, this paper is between myself and my classmate and my wife, Dr. Njideka Jia. We did this paper together. Without wasting time, I will ask you to please, as much as possible, read along with us so that I don't have to read everything. So please, I will make sure that we work within the time limit that is provided, if not less than that. So this is the what we'll be following. Introduction is basically for us to look at how that climate change is one of the most pressing challenges that we have at this particular time. And the role of artificial intelligence in managing climate change, and then with impacts on sustainability. And of course, somebody defines sustainability in a very funny way. He says sustainability means chop, I chop. Okay? So don't chop everything. Chop your own, leave some for me to also chop. So it simply means that whatever we are doing today, whether it's business and so on, we must make sure that the future generation also have something to eat. And that's why it's very critical that what we do, we consider the future of the next generation. And incidentally, climate change actually seems to be one of the big challenges affecting sustainability. So what is AI in climate modeling and risk prediction? You know, AI is transforming climate sciences right now as we speak. And what is this doing? It is enhancing predictive accuracy of climate models. It is employing machine learning in analyzing lots of data, and then utilizing satellites, Internet of Things, and so on and so forth. It is also employing deep learning and in monitoring the climate and enabling real-time tracking of deteriorations and so on and so forth. Now, AI in flood prediction. Of course, you know that flood today is increasing because of climate-related challenges. Now, so this is being actively employed in flood prediction and used as part of early warning. For example, we have flood prediction models using reinforcement learning in Bangladesh and Netherlands. We also have this in such a way that it gives 85 to 90% accuracy of river levels and so on and so forth, such that before it happens, it is able to predict whether rivers will overflow and sweep away homes and kill people. And then in Bangladesh, it was possible to evacuate people 72 hours before the floods came. Now, in wildlife detection and rapid response, we have seen in California, all of us that listen to news, we know what fires have been doing in California, devastating lives and wiping away forests and so on. This system has been used in California. If you look at some of the pictures, you can clearly have an idea of how AI is employed in wildlife detection and enabling rapid response in order to save people from being killed. Again, also in disasters and key considerations, we have clearly also studied and have seen that earthquake early warning in Japan, where you have a lot of data detection systems within the ground and so on and so forth, that are able to quickly analyze what is happening and are able to tell what is going to happen as far as earthquakes are concerned. And if you are reading the slides quickly with me, you would have read to the end, the last point, where you would have seen that even though this is doing very well, but there are a bit of challenges based on some real-time processes that still need to work on. Now, in sustainable agriculture and energy optimization, we have also seen that elsewhere, I mean, a lot of it is not yet happening in Nigeria, but it's good to learn from what is happening in other places for us to be able to, and we're happy that a lot is being discussed from the government side of what is happening. So it is also used in sustainable agriculture. And what is it? Smart irrigation systems are being deployed, crop and soil monitoring, use of drones, and if you, with the use of drones, predictive pest control. So you have data that is gathered based on the area, and you can really tell what nature of pests that are available and when the size of the population will increase and so on. And with that kind of data, AI is able to help us to control pests and then also predict drought and rainfall. Now, for sustainable energy, AI is also being used elsewhere, and of course, this is also used here in Nigeria, which some of us have also been involved in enhancing grid availability. And of course, with this, energy providers are able to tell how much of power you need at a particular time and how much of unused power is going to be wasted, and then systems are shut down. Still on this, let me move to the next slide. Now, so AI again is being used in urban resilience and infrastructure. What do we mean here? This is about green building design and climate sensitive zoning. We have seen a couple of these, adaptive building operations where you have HVAC, lighting systems, energy demands, and so on. I had mentioned that before. So with that, you will be able to manage your energy demands and also save money. So instead of just putting on power and the power not being useful, the application of machine learning and all the data that is involved, AI will be able to trigger how we manage power and use water. For environmental monitoring and early warning, this is also applicable. And so here we have the slides are not looking to. I tried to put a bit of flow diagram on a particular architecture, but I think this is not necessary here. But it's just for us to know that there is the application of AI in environmental monitoring. Of course, we know about drones, we know about gathering data, we know about various systems that are available. Now, based on AI, and like we were discussing, this map was generated from AI when I asked it to help me generate a climate risk map. This is what it generated from one of the countries. Now, just to summarize the fact that in countries like Netherlands, Indonesia, USA, Chile, down to Bangladesh, there are several of these systems that are being used already. They are applicable, and I won't bore you with going into any form of reading the details. So, for national integration, of course, a lot is being discussed now. Agriculture, pest prediction, yield forecast, and food security, for energy, for health, for urban oil and gas. We are critical on safety and maintenance, and we expect that the impact will be increased production and productivity. Now, let me finish with this because I'm in the oil and gas industry. In the oil and gas industry, how will this be useful? We know that at the moment, the oil and gas industry is contributing quite significant as far as environment is concerned and climate change is concerned, and of course, impacting sustainability. So just to mention quickly that digitalization is happening in the oil and gas industry, where you are placing sensors and equipment on pumps, change of pumps, change of equipment, and data infused in such a way that you can actually predict how your equipment can be maintained and so on. Dr. Dapo had already talked about smart wearables. We are having this already in the oil and gas industry. Here, we are also employing the use of underwater drones to be able to monitor the environment and take appropriate responses where we see challenges. For example, monitoring subsea equipment, flow pipelines, risers, warheads, and so on and so forth. This is being deployed as we speak. So finally, everybody is discussing AI, and of course, we need to do this. But what of ethical consideration and policy consideration? A few things here. Data privacy and security issues. Somebody had asked a question like that. Algorithmic bias and fairness. Somebody goes and collects data maybe in the north, and then uses the data in the north, and then collects data in the south and uses that data, and then generates some data to show that, well, there are certain crops you cannot plant in the south because the data in the north says so and so and so, and then it can be used for resource allocations and so on and so forth. So the point we're making is that because AI is data driven, there is need for openness in data gathering in order to avoid bias in data integration, and then digital inequality and energy footprint in AI. So, what is our recommendation? And a lot has been said already. We recommend data governance where there is a governance framework, and I hear from all that has been discussed yesterday that this is already being worked on. We talk about algorithmic transparency, where we said there has to be independent audit of any form of algorithm that has been built in order to deploy for any of these systems we are talking about. Somebody different must look at what kind of data that is being used. So, okay. Can I get the last slide? Sorry, it didn't work. Okay. We have also given a policy recommendation for environmental sustainability, global governance, and so on. So what's the conclusion, please? This is our conclusion, that AI transformed climate resilience through smarter monitoring, management, and protection of environment, and the success depends more on technology that requires strong policies, and we said that we should have ethical principles, global equality, and the last point there we said, let's have safeguards in place that AI can become a catalyst for this. So, thank you very much. I think this is where we stop. Thank you.
You will find. You know my type, they're close to you. Never buy a dream if it's sold to you. Now who go there by your side if you walk out through fire, fire? Follow you standing inside the fire. Now love me, I go love. Now love us, we go love. Who go believe you when the whole world is calling you a liar, liar? Now love me, I go love. Now love us, we go love. Now love us, we go love.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Please, let's give another round of applause for that fantastic presentation. As you can see, the code is already here. Please, wherever you are seated, zoom in and go to and click on the link that shows when you zoom and go to Slido. There are so many questions there. You can either read through and answer some of the questions, or you put in your questions. This is a very fantastic topic that basically touches me a lot, because you can see that some parts of Nigeria that have no business with flooding are currently being flooded, I mean, we had the sad incident from Niger State that is not too far away from us that happened a short while ago. So it's very important that we take this presentation and some others before it very seriously, because like the presenter aptly said, if we model AI properly, we can actually get the signs that that flooding will happen before time and provide warnings ahead of time to prevent that flooding from happening. We can relocate people. I mean, he gave instance of a town that was relocated 72 hours before the time. Please, another round of applause for that research. That is fantastic. So I will hand us over back to our erudite MC who had gone to make sure the arrangements in place for the next presentation. OJ Skills, please. Thank you very much.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let's say thank you once again to Dr. John Gia. Thank you very much for that wonderful presentation. We are moving on very quickly to our next presentation. And our next presenter, I've said this, I will continually say it, has been carefully handpicked. This is going to be a combination. All the speakers who have spoken so far have spoken individually, but now we are likely to see a collaborative effort between Dr. Kingsley Unwero and Ako Rita. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for this next session? Are you ready for this next session? Dr. Kingsley is a safety professional and an academic. He is currently acting head of Department of Maritime Transport and Logistics at the Federal University of Petroleum Resources, ISPON, in Delta State. He is a member of the University Senate and other strategic committees in the institution. He is also the current chair of the Institute of Safety Professionals of Nigeria, Delta State branch. An astute trainer, facilitator, and leadership coach, he is a regular conference and workshop speaker, and he has several journal articles to his credit. He is also a scholar of Delta State government, PhD awardee, and a fellow of the Institute Chartered Member Institute of Logistics and Transport. His research interest is maritime transport, emergency response and management, environmental studies, and safety management. I move over now to Dr. Rita E. Ako, who is a senior lecturer at and sub-dean of the College of Computing at Federal University of Petroleum Resources, ISPON. She is also the acting head of Department of Data Science and Petroleum Resources. I'm sorry. She is also the acting head of Department of Data Science and postgraduate coordinator for computer science. She was with us yesterday on the panel session, delivering seasoned lectures and giving insights on artificial intelligence and the role of that in safety. She holds a PhD in computer science from the University of Bradford, UK, and is a member of the Nigeria Computer Society. Dr. Rita joined the university in 2023, bringing expertise in AI, data science, and cybersecurity to the advancement of her community. Ladies and gentlemen, with a robust round of applause, because you've never seen it in this fashion, make welcome Dr. Kingsley Akpobo Unwero and Dr. Rita E. Ako for this presentation.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I'm going to be giving a presentation on fall from height in construction industry. Fall from height. Can you go back to the very beginning, please? Okay, fall from height, prediction in construction sites. Yes, a lot has been said about AI. And to some of us, we're wondering, how do I even begin with this AI? What do I do? How do I go about using this AI? So I'm going to be talking about how you can actually implement this AI, and we'll look at fall from height prediction in construction site. Please go back. Just leave it there for now. Now, one of the challenges with AI is that most of these models, they are what we call black box model. That is to say, you have an input and you have an output. Sometimes you do not understand how did this AI or machine learning actually make this prediction? What is the in-between? For instance, in neural network, you have the hidden layers. So these computations are actually not visible to the user. And so it brings about the issue of trust in the use of these models, right? So that is why we decided to use explainable AI. What explainable AI does is that it will allow you to understand those causal relationships, those factors that actually contributed towards this prediction or detection. And random forest classifier, these are decision trees. It's an example of decision trees. Decision trees can be your Bayesian network, it can be your naive Bayes. These are decision trees. That is, you have the parent node and then the child node that help you to make the decisions. So factors like, okay, this is my parent, I give birth to 2 children, male and female, and that's how the decision tree comes about. That is how in risk assessment or risk management or decision making in an organization is made. So random forest is an example of these decision trees that allows you to make these informed decision or prediction. So what we are doing today, move to the next slide, please. So today we're looking at the major causes of injuries in construction. And I can tell you that a majority of the workers, construction sites, they flout these guidelines on using safety measures. I know locally, even the builders, you see them climbing without this PPE equipment, taking safety into consideration. So what we are trying to do is determine it from data. Now, AI or machine learning is a subset of AI, and it deals with what? Data. We'll be talking about data. Yes. How do you actually use this data, this information? How? AI, human-like processing, right? So how do you now detect the causes of injuries from these data? How do you find the cause of injuries? That's what we're going to be looking at today. So what we're proposing is explainable AI models using random forest. That is an example of decision trees. Now, our work, actually, we got 98.4% accuracy, sensitivity, 100, and specificity. I'm going to explain that shortly. And then we use LIME that provide insight. This is the key. LIME is a tool or technique that allows us to understand those factors. What are those factors that influences this fall? What are those things that the AI will look at and tell you, oh, this is what will cause a fall or no fall? Now, Explainable AI, what is the benefit? Is that it builds on what? Trust. It builds on trust and it enhances safety interventions. Move to the next slide, please. Move away from this. I think a lot has been said about AI, machine learning. Now, one of the work that we looked at, they actually used wearable device to determine the fall in construction site. And that is the accuracy level they got. And then they also looked at ladder safety in their model. And that is the accuracy they got. The fault tree analysis for fall, the factors in roof